What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Christian Witch Podcast. I'm your host, Chosen, also known as at Christian Witch HTX over on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube. And on Twitter, it's at Christian Witch X. The HTX was stolen, so there's that. I hope everyone has had a wonderful holiday season so far. Yule and Christmas have come and gone, and we're like literally at New Year's doorstep. Also, a lot of people don't know this, but like we're in the middle of the 12 days of Christmas because like 12 days of Christmas start on Christmas. So we'll be doing that through January and yeah, just living our best lives. I am so excited for today's episode. I'm going to be talking about beginner books for witchcraft, especially of help if you're like coming from a Christian background, stuff like that. And here's the deal. When it comes to books and recommendations, you can read something and not believe every single word it says. I know it sounds crazy, but it is possible. The Bible says that we extract the precious from the worthless. So, in everything, there's going to be good and there's going to be stuff that's not really useful. So, we can take the good and leave the bad. Okay. So, just know that whether it's a Christian book I recommend or a Wicca book or a Norse book or a Celtic book or like anything that's like dedicated to one specific path, you can still learn from it and take from it. So yeah, anyways, okay, let's dive in. I'm gonna cue the ad because let's just get it over with. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I love books. I love to read. Maybe it's like the witchy mystic in me. But I've always loved books. I've always loved being at bookstores. I have so many books, and apparently it's not common to read your books, but like I read mine, and I learn a lot. You know what? Now that I say that, there's a ton of books I haven't read that I have, but like I want to read them. I'm just busy reading other books. So like I'm reading still, like I'm still getting the reading points. Um, I'm just not through all of them yet. Okay, so these are going to be books that are best for beginners or people who are really just wanting to build a strong foundation. So, when it comes to learning anything, especially spiritual development, like it's very important to understand that you have to build like your inner world before you can build your outer world. If like you don't have everything set up on the inside, if the infrastructure isn't strong, then like as soon as you know there's something monumental on the outside world, like you're gonna crumble on the inside if that makes sense. So you have to like be built up inside, that way you can handle the outside. I hope that makes sense, you guys. Clearly I'm not trying to sound super philosophical or like brilliant, so don't be judgy, which no one is. Honestly, I get the sweetest messages from you guys, so yeah, so much love. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, you guys, so there is some stuff going on around me, so if you hear a little bit of like moving or banging or dogs barking like just now, just know that I do live with people and I record those at home. So yeah, that's what's going on. So the first book is going to be Power of the Witch by Lori Cabot, The Earth, the Moon, and the Magical Path to Enlightenment. I absolutely love this book. I've read it like 3 times, I think, maybe 4. I don't remember at this point, but it's so good, and it was written back in. Hold on, I'll find out the details for you. I want to say it was written in like the 80s. I'm not sure. Um, but anyways, my point being is that it is absolutely wonderful. It is filled with a bunch of really like key elements and like fundamental like teach like not teachings, but like there's like a lot of wisdom in here that it's almost sprinkled. um that's not even the right word. Like there's so many things in here that are like really key beliefs for practicing any type of magic or psychic ability or witchcraft, whatever. um and like you don't notice it until like you start learning like deeper principles, and you go back, you're like, oh my god, like she was teaching us this stuff while telling this story. It's really cool. But I'm gonna read you the little synopsis thing, and then we'll move on. But The Earth, the Moon, and the Magical Path to Enlightenment, written by a practicing witch who conducts classes and seminars on witchcraft, the oldest Western religion, a means of power and enlightenment, and a healing art. Lori Cabot has written a fascinating account of a beautiful and sadly misunderstood religion, witchcraft. She has, with her life and work, done a great deal to legitimize. Is that how I say that? I guess legitimize, whatever, the ancient pagan form of worship. Um, I'm among the Christians who have discovered the truth about witchcraft that is neither demonic nor evil. Power of the Witch is a marvelous introduction to the magical and highly ethical world of Wicca. So that is a review from Whitley Strieber. And what I love about that is that she says that she's part of the Christians who've discovered the truth about witchcraft. Honestly, I'm going to be totally transparent. I forgot she said that part. So like when I read it, I was kind of like, wait a minute, I forgot about this. This is so good. But yeah, it is such a good book. I love this book. It's very easy to follow. The stories are really cool. I don't know, like when I read this book, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I love this world that she's painting. Even though she's not even painting a world, she's just telling her account of like things that have actually happened. I just enjoy it. And Lori Cabot's like one of my favorite authors and witches. Um, there's a lot to learn from her, and there's an exercise in this book that's called the Crystal Countdown. And I know a lot of people who still use this method to get into a magical mind state or to get into a meditative state, and it is phenomenal. Every other like beginner exercise is always based off of hers. Like if you read Psychic Witch or the Inner Temple um, of Witchcraft, they all refer back to it. And it's like, this is my modified version. I actually don't do the Crystal Countdown as much as I do the Inner Temple of Witchcraft version because it's just counting. Um, but it's the same thing. And I don't know. I just think you give honor where honor's due. I love this book. She tells a really cool story about how you can like do instant magic and how you can like get parking spots and how like her and some friends were on the way to dinner and were they on their way to dinner? Yeah, they were on their way to dinner, and they pulled up and there was nowhere to park, and they were like, they all just assumed one of the other witches were gonna make a parking spot happen, and so they all, did their little trick, and they circled the block and came back, and there was three, or I don't know if it was three or if it was just like one, but it was all like right by the front door, so it's just really cool. It's cute, it's fun, it feeds your heart. Yeah, I love it. So another thing I wanted to touch on is Lori Cabot's Book of Shadows. So this came out more recently. I want to say around 2015, 16. I don't know. It could have been a little bit later than that. But this is her teaching on her first, second, and third degree of witchcraft. She teaches you all the principles from beginning to end. And this is one of my most valuable resources. I love this. It teaches you the science and the art of witchcraft. One of the things that the more you study, the more you'll understand is that a lot of this stuff is saying the same thing. You'll read books from different traditions, and they're all trying to like tap into a certain part of their brain. And she really just like cuts through all the nonsense and like gets down to the principles because she truly understands them. And, she does have some like, the lore and the a little bit more of the other stuff to like fill out the details, but she is really special in her way that she's affected so many people, and other authors, like I said, Christopher Penczak, who's one of my favorite authors and teachers, and then also Matt Oren. They all honestly are just reteaching the same thing she teaches, but and they do add their own twist to it. When I say twist, I don't mean like they're doing anything wrong. I just mean like they're adding to it, like they learned more, or they learned a better way to explain it. Like I'm not discrediting their work. Totally worth the read, and they are on my list as well. But yeah, the first two books, um, the Power of the Witch, and then Lori Cabot's Book of Shadows, are awesome. Keep in mind this list is in no particular order. So I can say like the first two books. That doesn't mean you need to read them first. I do love Power Over the Witch, and I think it is a great book to start with. But like if you're looking for like a like dive in, this is where I'm going to start learning the magical arts. Um, it would either be one of those two books or The Inner Temple of Witchcraft by Christopher Penczak, which covers magic, meditation, and psychic development. I love this book. I use this book to teach. I use this book to train people. I've read this book almost four times now. I'm literally finishing the fourth time right now because I go back through it and they just re-updated it. And like every time I teach, like I basically have to reread it, or like flip through it at least and skim it. So I'm in the middle of doing that right now, but it's incredible. This is going to teach you all of the core principles that you need to like do magic and heal and develop and like do anything else along this mystical journey. So it's a really good I would say like honestly it's a good book no matter what level you're at, but definitely for building the foundations. There are 13 lessons but 17 chapters, and hold on, let me just tell you how many exercises there are. There are 34 exercises in here, and literally the thing about exercises in a book is like you're learning different skills. So these aren't just like exercises to build your abilities, which they are in some way, but they're also like you are learning, like think about it like a little superpower, like you're learning a new ability every time you do an exercise. So it's really fun. And he has a whole series. Honestly, like if you were just looking for like the best like books at all, like hands down to learn a full complete system of magic, I would say the Christopher Penczak's Inner Temple series, not Inner Temple series, the Temple of Witchcraft series. That's what it's called. There's the Inner Temple, the Outer Temple, the Living Temple, the High Temple, or something like that. I forget. But all of his books are wonderful. As a matter of fact, the next book I'm recommending is his book, The Witch's Shield. It's about protection magic, and that is honestly some of um, the most important knowledge that you need to gain, because the more we get involved in like the supernatural, the more like the spirit realm is aware of like they're aware of us being aware of them, and so we gain more attention, and not all energy is good energy. So that's why you need protection, not necessarily because people are out to get you, which they can be, but it's for reasons like that, but also learning to protect yourself from picking up other people's energies, especially for us empaths out there. Um, and being an empath is not what you think it is. Just a quick note: it's not just feeling other people's emotions. That's not the full extent of it. So just because you're sensitive doesn't mean you're an empath. You can have empathy for someone and not be an empath. Okay, so where was I? Okay, I think. Oh, the Christopher Wicks. Oh my God, my tongue is so twisted right now. The Christopher Penczak's The Witch's Shield. There we go. That was a wonderful book. It's so good. It comes, if you get the physical copy, a lot of them come with like a meditation CD. So definitely check that out. Or you can like download Scribd, and it's like Netflix for books, and you can read almost any of these witchy books on there, like all of Llewellyn, all of Hay House, and all that. Most of all their books are on there. So don't like hold me to that, because I'm sure there's some that aren't, but these ones are. And a lot of the times they have the audiobook, and they just released an audio version of The Witch's Shield, so it's perfect time to check it out. Okay, speaking of protection magic, I think a really good book that I learned from um, J. Allen Cross over on Invoking Witchcraft podcast is by Rust of Nail and Prick of Thorn. It is a wonderful, very short but very informative and very powerful book on protection and defense magic. And I believe they said this, and I'm just going to echo it. If you're going to start anywhere and you don't want to learn the fundamentals right away, start with protection magic. Like if you're just dying to learn something and you don't want to learn, like you don't want to build your psychic ability, which by the way you're going to have to do regardless if you want to do any successful magic, but whatever. You can start with protection magic. And Christopher Penczak's The Witch's Shield and By Rust of Nail and Prick of Thorn are my go-to books for that. And then we're going to jump over to Psychic Witch by Matt Oren. This is a wonderful book, but it's kind of hard to get through. I find myself a little bored. And maybe it's because like I kind of know these topics, so like I'm not saying it's gonna be boring for everyone, but it's very dense. There's a lot of exercises. It's not something you can read. In a well, okay, so I take that back. You can read it in a week if you want to. You can do all the exercises in a week if you want to. The Inner Temple series type books are designed to be done at your own pace, but like they're designed to work out to about a year and a day if you wanted to do like one lesson a month or so. I typically take people through that whole series in about 8 weeks. So, not the whole series, I'm sorry, the all the lessons. So with Psychic Witch, I'm sure you could do the same thing. I do like some of the stuff he talks about in here. A lot of the exercises are repeating things I already know, so I don't um, I wouldn't say that I gained a whole lot, but like I do find it. I don't know. Like I feel like it's kind of dense, not in like a brilliant kind of way. Like I'm not being like rude or anything, but like there's a lot that you don't have to say um, to teach, and that's totally fine. That's everyone's writing style. I'm not picking on Matt. Like I think he's wonderful. I was just saying it's a little bit more dense. So if you want to learn the same things, you can get the Inner Temple of Witchcraft or Laurie Cabot's Book of Shadows, um, and yeah, learn pretty much the same thing, and then take time working through Psychic Witch. So I'm not saying don't read Psychic Witch; it's a wonderful book, but it's the one that's going to require like a little bit more time, I think. I mean, you could power through it if you want to, like I said, but you're going to gain the most benefit by like taking your time, and not trying to like bust through it, unless you just like really need to. But I feel like if you do that, you're going to lead to burnout. Not because there's anything wrong with the book. Like, let me clarify: there's nothing wrong with the book. Like the book, it's awesome. I was just telling you like my personal recommendation. And I will tell you, the cover on this book is aesthetically pleasing as heck. So love that. Um, okay, what was I going to talk about next? I forgot. I have my iPad in front of me, you guys. Um, okay, so if you're into potions, The Witch's Book of Potions by Michael Fury is the only book I've ever found that actually teaches you how to make a potion, how to brew it, how to imbue the ingredients with energy, how to give you recipes, how to do things. It's the only book on the subject I've learned or that I've read that actually taught me how to make a potion. The rest of them are just like, here, use this ingredient and like make a tea out of it. But like, not everybody wants to make a tea out of things sometimes, and not everything needs to be a tea or be ingested. So, anyways, I really like The Witch's Book of Potions. Also, Laurie Cabot's Book of Shadows has some really good recipes in there too. Um, okay, so for those of us coming from a Christian background or who just love the traditional sense of um, the Christian Godhead or whatever. So, like, if you just happen to have any ties to the Christian religion at all, this one may be more up your alley. But it's The Christian Witch's Handbook, and it's by H. Fuller Hutchinson. It is a wonderful book. It covers a lot of topics. There's some spells in there. There's some recipes. It's really good. It's a quick read. It's hard to find. You can find a PDF online, and I think like ordering it off Amazon is super expensive. But it's a good book, and you want to read it regardless. If you join um, Christian Witch in the Craft on Facebook, the private group, they have a section called the file section, and I believe there's a link in there to one of the PDF versions. I think that's where I got it. So definitely check that out. Okay, so we've covered a handful of books here. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's anything I want to recommend for like beginners. Let me see. Oh, Magical Power for Beginners by Deborah Lip. So this is how to raise and send energy for spells that work. This is fundamental. So this is one of the first books I read on the subject. And honestly, if you were going to get two or three books out of this whole thing, which by the way, I recommend reading them all. I would get Magical Power for Beginners, The Inner Temple of Witchcraft, and The Power of the Witch, or switch out The Power of the Witch for one of the protection books. But yeah, these are wonderful books to start with. I love them. The thing about books is that you have to be careful because a lot of it's kind of fluff. A lot of it's kind of unnecessary, and there's a lot of just aesthetically pleasing things that get published and get bought, and so um, they keep getting published and keep getting bought. But yeah, anyways, I would definitely just be mindful and research the books that you're going to read. Read the reviews on Amazon. People are so helpful on Amazon when you're like looking for books. Um, okay, so I lied. I have a couple more books I want to tell you guys about. Um, one of them being Silver Ravenwolf. Um, so she has a series, I believe it starts with To Ride a Silver Broomstick, and then it's like To Light a Sacred Flame and to Stir a Magic Cauldron or something like that. I don't remember. But all of her work is so good. And for years, I was just told by so many people, like, oh, like she's like, don't read her. She's got a bunch of misinformation or, this, that, or the other, whatever their reasoning was. And I didn't understand why. I was always drawn to her intuitively. So I read her anyways. And you know what? Those people were wrong. They were lying. And maybe it was just because they were ignorant, but they definitely did not know what they were talking about. Because if you learn the core, if you learn how it really all works, the quantum physics of it all, she was teaching it the whole time and she made it fun. And I will say, like, she does sometimes like tell stories that are just like not necessary for the book, really, but I mean, it's fun to read. Like, I enjoy reading them, and that is also another really good place to start. She also, by the way, the good place to start I'm telling you about is with To Ride a Silver Broomstick, or even her. She has a huge book called The Book of Shadows. For the new generation or something like that. It's red, and I remember seeing this book when I was a child in a bookstore in our local mall, and I was always drawn to it. And matter of fact, I would have flipped through and read it while my parents were shopping, but I was scared to get it because like I didn't want, obviously, like to be, I don't know, beat over the head. I mean, granted, they would never have done that. I don't even know why I said that, but like in your mind, you think of like the worst case scenario because you're always taught that witchcraft is evil, yet you're drawn to it. The things I know now. Yeah, my parents would have never done that. By the way, I don't even know why I said that, but in my mind, I just knew like don't try to buy this book. Um, but yeah, it's Silver Ravenwolf is wonderful. She teaches great information. I love her books. And then also there is a so keep in mind, do your research on the books. But there is a wonderful series that I have found recently. Um, they're all short books, but they all work wonderfully. And if you're dabbling in the chaos magic realm, you might like them. So, The Master Works of Chaos Magic by Adam Blackthorne is published with a group called Gallery of Magic, and then they have spent decades like doing chaos magic and rituals, and they basically they're like, here's what works, here's what's safe, like there's no spirits are going to harm you, like this is what works the best, and they like publish their books. But this book is practical techniques for directing your reality, and it's wonderful. The one that I actually love the most, that has benefited me the most, is a book called, where'd it go, I don't want to tell you the wrong name. I mean, I know what I call it, but oh, okay, it's called Magical Cash Book. So this is How to Attract Money with Ancient Secrets in Modern Wealth Magic by Damon Brand, and it's with the Gallery of Magic peoples. They have more books. This one is a really cool book. It's one you're probably gonna want to research yourself. I can't tell you like everything about it because like the whole point of the book, like they even say they're like if you download this book illegally, like you don't want to be working money magic. Like it just it just like the energy's already tainted. Um, but it's $5 on Amazon and it works wonders. Okay, Healing Magic by Rose Manning with the Gallery of Magic as well. It's words of power that heal yourself and others. It's angel magic, and you basically just use the name of God to, ask angels to heal you. It's also very interesting. Keep in mind, I don't really mess with spirits that are not of the light, that are not with God, okay? I don't entertain energies and I don't worship anyone. Um, but God, Holy Spirit, and Jesus, that's my personal thing. Um, I do believe, though, that, He has a whole, like, by He, I mean God. Uh, I do believe that God has a entire army of spirit beings and guides and angels and whatever other names we don't know about to help us. And I'm under the belief that we have all access to the kingdom of heaven and we have all authority and dominion. And so um, I choose to use that authority and dominion and exercise it to call forth every blessing into my life. And I don't do it selfishly. I do it like the healing I do for like my mom and me, and it's just like praying for someone. It's just you're praying and you're asking that the forces delegated to do this work will do it for you. Um, so yeah. Anyways, love you guys so much. My dogs are barking, so I'm gonna take that as a cue. It's time to hop off. But those are wonderful books to start with. I have a ton of other books I love to read and can recommend for you. And if you guys are interested in like learning more, um, I am launching an academy in the spring. So it's going to be called the Academy of Mystical Arts. Hold on one second. Oh my God, I just like had to pause and stretch and yawn. Like it was just something I could not control. Um, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm launching an academy with my incredible friend and partner in light work, Lux. She does intuitive therapy and is absolutely phenomenal. But we're launching the Elysium Academy of Mystical Arts. It's going to be in witchcraft healing and psychic development. And it'll be coming around, yeah, the springtime, late winter, spring. Honestly, we're excited and want it ASAP. We just have to make sure that we, um, you know, do justice and honor you guys and make sure everything's the work's put in. So instead of just like throwing it out there and be like, hey, we're gonna figure it out, it's like, no, we've been planning, we have everything worked out. It's gonna be a 15-week course, and you guys are gonna learn so much. It is not gonna be something that. Hold on one second. Sorry, you guys. There's so much going on around here today. It's not going to be something that is just like a bunch of theory or a bunch of like, feel good inspirational messages. No, we're gonna save you the time. We're gonna teach you what you need to know, how to do it. You're gonna be getting exercises, books, live teachings every week. Access to us directly through a chat. Yeah, there's questions and like I don't want to like scare anybody off, but there's homework, not bad homework, just like answer these questions, and we'll end up going over them together anyway. So it's like we want you to walk away understanding what you've learned, but also like you're not going to get a certification or any kind of certificate um, unless you can demonstrate that you've learned and that you can do these things that we claim that you can do. So, anyways, I'm excited, and we haven't made any official announcement, but I guess there it is, and yeah, I'm excited. So, if you guys want to learn that way, that's cool too. But if not, I can also just, keep making recommendations on books for y'all. I'll probably do that anyways because I love books. Um, I'll probably make like YouTube videos on them as well. So, yeah, anyway, so if you guys have like books that you have questions about, feel free to shoot me a message or comment Or you can go to like TikTok and, um, like I have a Q&A thing on my profile, and you can ask like, hey, like, is this book a good book? Like, is it worth the read? And I can tell you because I've read a lot of these books, and if not, I'll be like, I don't know. So, or I'll recommend something that is. So yeah, I'm rambling at this point. I'm lacking caffeine. And I'm gonna go, but I love you guys so much, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful new year. There's gonna be a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm working really hard. So I'm going to go make sure my brother's not dying back there, and then yeah, I'm just gonna hop off. I need caffeine so bad. Love you guys so much, and message me. Go comment on something. You know what we can do? What are we gonna do this time? Because last time I said to go put certain things on there, and you guys showed up and did it, and it made me so happy. So why don't we go to the Instagram post or the TikTok post and type in, I don't even know, what should we type in? Like, oh, go tell me which book you're excited to read. How about that? So go comment. You can be like, so excited to read The Inner Temple of Witchcraft, or so excited for Power of the Witch, or so excited for the Elysium Academy of Mystical Arts coming up. Whatever it is, and just let me know. Okay, bye.